Test, test. And we welcome you live here on the Fort Lee YouTube's Athletic Channel, here from the Allen W. Sugarman Athletic Complex in Fort Lee. It's time for Fort Lee boys soccer as the Bridgemen at 4-1-2, 3-1 in the Big North American. They take on a good program, the Fairlawn Cutters at 4-5, 3-2 though in the Big North Independents. Fairlawn much improved off of last year, just 3-13 last season. Only had really two senior starters, total of 5 last year, and 2 programs that are pushing their way towards quality Bergen County tournament seeds. Good evening and welcome under the lights here at the Allen W. Sugarman Complex. I'm Ralph Bednarczyk, so happy to have you with me. And it's time for Fort Lee to take the field here on what is turning into a little bit of a chilly night. For Demba Mane in his 13th year as head coach, his lineup will look like this out of a 4-5-1. Ilias Alkan will be the starter, first full-year starter in goal, 37 saves, coming off of 4 saves and a 3-1 victory in last time out against St. Joe's Montville on the road. Center backs, senior Samuel Choi, twice second team Big North American Division with junior Michael Conte, also a second teamer in division last year. Kenta Watanabe will be on the right, also second team honors last year. And senior Ben Kang, honorable mention All-American, in the strength of this Fort Lee team in the back line. Holding mid, Lucien Yu in his first year back in his home district from Don Bosco, where he was a 2-year starter. And he's joined by Gordon Cheng, a first-team Big North American Division honoree last year. Center attacking mid is Landon Kaplan with a goal and 4 assists. And his wide mids, Emmanuel Nitkin with 2 goals and 2 assists. And Jamil Vagapov, 4 goals and 2 assists. And up top, Ishan Talapian, who has buried 4 goals on the season. And those 4 have come in the last 5 games. And today, for Matt Ciccone in his 11th season coaching Fairlawn, Joshua Bells is his goalie. 3rd team All-Bergen County honors last year. 1st team All-Big North Independents. He was All-County 2nd team as a sophomore and 3rd teamer as a freshman. He plays for World Class FC under Iona head coach James Hamilton. Bells has a real chance to potentially be a Division I goalie. 3-4-3 alignment. Ben Brotto will be the center back. On his left will be Łukasz Wywczowski, plays club soccer player as well. And the right back is Jaden Tumbakin. In the 3-4-3, the holding mid, Naz Hernandez. Center attacking mid, talented sophomore Anthony DeVerts. A wide right, John Iratagotia. And on the left, RJ Guerrero. And up top, the 2 wingers with Ethan Blecker. On the right, Matthew Gomes. On the left, and the center forward is Ian Soares, a sophomore with 2 goals and an assist. Bell's one of the top goalies in Bergen County. He is to my right, as Fairlawn is in the white on white. Pink over black today for Fort Lee. Underway tonight at the Sugarman Athletic Complex. The cutoff for the Bergen County tournament seedings is October 8th, so this represents certainly a key game between a pair of programs that expect to, number one, be there, and they hope they can get a high seed and even a home game and have some real success. Wachowski handled. Wachowski plays as a defender in club, but in the 3-4-3 swooping over is Brotto. And Ben Brotto will deal it over. However, up top on the chance, it is chipped wide as Fairlawn got onto a loose ball. Jamil Vagapov with the look. Brotto trying to play it back to his keeper, Bells, and a fortunate break for Fairlawn. As the ball is delivered over the top, Fairlawn out of their 3-4-3 alignment. They do have a victory over a 6-1-1 West Milford team on the road. That will tremendously help Fairlawn ahead of a potential high Bergen County tournament seed. A win here on the road will also mean a lot to the Cutters. And a clearance up the line. Brotto, center back, also a volleyball star. Have his shovels over to Jaden Tubunkin. And Tubakin will release back for Bells. Bells at about 6'1", one of the best athletes Coach Matt Ciccone has ever coached. And the onus is on this Fort Lee team to try to finish against him today. Fort Lee, 19 goals, just 8 allowed. And up down the far sideline is Ethan Blecker, and it'll be a toss-in coming up for Fairlawn. Fairlawn just 3-13-1 last year. It was a rebuilding season. They were very, very young. Another deep throw coming for Fairlawn. 2 years ago, 9-4-4, and they lost their Group 4 school in the first round of the state sectional North 1 Group 4 tournament to Columbia. Bridgman will send out over the top as they search for pressure. Bells will comfortably distribute. Łukasz Wyczawski. Wyczawski, first year in the varsity. He was playing MLS Next the last 2 years through PDA Soccer Club Vistula Elite. Also, I think a subsidiary of the Vistula Garfield organization. Wyczawski, with a Polish heritage, was recently invited, one of 4 from New Jersey, selected to the Pro North America camp in Garfield. Players with Polish heritage having the Polish former national team coach Marcin Wlodarski come from 2009, as well as their current youth national team's director. Matt Miazga, longtime MLS and EPL player from Clifton with Polish heritage, was also in that boat where he could have played for the United States or Poland. RJ Guerrero trying to turn a corner. Fairlawn tonight, out of a 3-4-3, they have gone between systems this year. Typically had been a 4-4-2, but they've experimented with this 3-4-3 when they want some more pressure up top. And we'll see Fort Lee with Samuel Choi and Michael Conte, the 2 center backs, how they will hold up against that pressure. And starting with Ian Suarez, the center forward. Wyczawski plays out. Towed back through Bells. And up the line is Jaden Tubankin. We've played into the 6th minute of action. One great scoring chance in the early minutes for Fort Lee. As Ben Kang, the left back, played it to the middle of the field. Anthony diverts. Momentarily break up by Kang, but numbers in the box now for Fairlawn. As Blecker looks to attack the end line. As a cross sends in, as it bangs to the top of the area, and eventually Fort Lee will come up with a clearance. Good challenge there by Ben Braudo. Braudo excellent in the air, talking to Matt Ciccone about his tremendous center back. What an asset is to have volleyball skills where he can win basically everything in the air and also approach any cross sent in the air. A lot of players have to stop and handle crosses with the head ball. He can do that. Most volleyball players can do that on the run and track balls down well. Wyczawski. Good settle by Naz Hernandez. He's the holding mid, diverts. And just as possession will continue to be established, Fort Lee will take it back. For Demba Mane this year, adding 2 transfers or 2 players that were not with the program last year. Fort Lee in a similar boat as Fairlawn is, where the Bridgemen, they were 7-9-1 last year, 4-4 in the American Division. But they are a much younger team that's now thinking, and Demba Mene wants them to think about production. And then you add in Lucien Yu and also Emmanuel Nitkin. Here's a good ball delivered over the top. Room for Jamil Vagapov. And Fort Lee able to switch fields as we played into the 8th minute, no score. Dawson came to the top of the area. Challenge from Gordon Cheng to try to settle. And room on the counter here out wide for R.J. Guerrero. And Fairlawn shows nice patience as they'll deal it back to Bells. Bells such a quality athlete, describing Matt Ciccone, that he could be starting on the field as a field player if he was not a tremendous goalie. As a ball popped ahead for Guerrero. Guerrero reaching the end line, dispossessed, and the clearance up the line from Fort Lee. That's good work by Kenta Watanabe. Watanabe, a 2-year starter, just a junior 2-year starter, mainly an outside back. As Guerrero got it ahead, a cross is dealt in, and it's blocked down by a body. Ian Suarez having the cross. Vitrovsky probing. Naz Hernandez. To recycle through, diverts. 10 in white. Vitrovsky will give. And then watch the approach from Guerrero. Diverts. Looks for a diagonal ball over the top. And well defended again by Fort Lee. And Fort Lee will send forward. Bridgemen this year, as that ball carried out, their identity has become as a good countering and transition team. The speed up top that Demba Mene, who was a speed player during his time at both Rutgers and Bergen County Community College. And to try to find consistency in that. Vitrovsky. Backside run, R.J. Guerrero looking to release a teammate. Diverts, Hernandez. And then Hernandez turns it over. Chance to counter. Vagapov. Then Vagapov trying to get around Ben Brotto. And Brotto will clear to midfield. Strong start on the road for Fairlawn. With no score, Fort Lee has attempted to counter a couple of times. No corners, just one shot. Take over in the air from 10, Lucien Yu. And Yu trying to play ahead. And it is Joshua Bells. Bells wants to play college soccer. 2 games ago in a 1-0 loss at the hands of Bergen Catholic. Made 10 saves, his season high. Last year he was very busy, 115 in the junior season of Bells. 2 years ago, 99. As a freshman, 136 for a good team that went 10-0 in league, 14-4-2. As a freshman, Bell's experience in winning, going all the way to the North 1 Group 4 quarterfinals. Brotto, and he'll play it out of the vicinity of Jamil Vagapov. Fort Lee able to get up the line with Watanabe. Ishan Talapian searches for a cross. The left back Kang. Now Watanabe. Watanabe sending it across, and Bells handles it quite softly. Terrific hands from Joshua Bells. And Bells has played already 2 years' worth of state tournament games. Hernandez off of quick transition. Guerrero. As Hernandez played it in, Lucien Yu will break it up. And the handle from Ilias Alkin. Alkin, a club soccer player himself with the Future Soccer Academy, like several of his Bridgman teammates. He came up with 13 saves on opening day in a competitive 2-2 tie right here at home against Paramus in a good program. Now up ahead, Matthew Gomes trying to turn the corner. And on the follow-up, that is 7 in white, Ian Soares. Hernandez. Vagapov with the step. Brado stepping even further. And the challenge outside. A sitting ball left up top of the shot missed. Quality look for Fairlawn. And we remain scoreless. The first shot of the game for the Cutters. And that's a good look from their sophomore center mid and Anthony DeVerts. DeVerts with 1-1 on the year. He has had a meteoric rise as a player. Truly an inspirational story for young players. Anthony DeVerts last year started out with the freshman team, ended it with the varsity. And in natural progression, continued to work on his game. Wasn't yet big enough or strong enough, but his touch is among the best Coach Matt Ciccone has ever seen in high school. He is now in his 11th year. And DeVerts has found a home as a starting center mid at a Group 4 school as a sophomore. Group 4, of course, being the largest classification as Yu turns it over to Hernandez. Group 1 being the smallest. Yu. DeVerts with a breakup. Guerrero, and a good read by Watanabe. And Kenta Watanabe with Vagapov in front. Vagapov into the 18. Jamil Vagapov before Vitrovsky will swoop in and play it forward. On the check back, Soares. Ian Soares. 15th minute of play, no score. Tonight, under the lights, Fort Lee typically will play a couple of night games. You hope it's earlier in the season. And at the weather at night, you just never know in September. DeVerts. DeVerts will chip in. Iratagotia. Play is onside. Rather, that is Iratagotia. Out of the feet of Gomes. Trying to cut it across was 14 Gomes. Then the strike coming in, and Alcons will make the save. Second quality look, Anthony DeVerts with the shot. As Alcons distributed up the middle. Kang for Gordon Chang. Fort Lee playing double sixes tonight out of a 4-2-3-1 alignment, as both teams will make subs here into the 17th minute. As Łukasz Wachowski will head off, or actually Wachowski will move further up the field. Lucien Yu heads off. Wachowski has been starting at forward much of the year. Tonight starting in a 3-4-3 outside back. While Fort Lee brought on hardworking forward Nathan Vigodner in his junior season. Gordon Chang. Choi under the high press of Ian Soares. Soares with 2 goals and an assist, including a big goal at West Milford. That right now is the statement victory for the Fairlawn Cutters. Yeah, the game winner on September 9th. And that came on the heels after just coming back after Fairlawn started off the season with 4 straight road games, including 5 of their first 6, including the noteworthy game to open up the season at Wyoming Valley West High School in Pennsylvania, Kingston, Pennsylvania. That is the hometown of their coach, Matt Ciccone. And they do that annually as a road trip for team bonding. They spend the night in a hotel, and they actually have a meal the night before with Wyoming Valley West, which is nice to hear about. Soares. Wachowski now further up the field. And certainly that team bonding element, especially in the early season, that coaches hope will translate to tremendous camaraderie. And then after they get back home on the 8th, the next day, they're playing at West Milford. Hernandez, stepped into by Vigadner. Brado. Then Brado. As he sent a diagonal cross into the box, looking for Matthew Gomes. Michael Conte. Fort Lee has not been able to build up out of the back in the run of play. It has been Fairlawn comfortable on the ball. Choi. Choi could not clear. Aratagotia before swooping in is Choi on the breakup. Follow up Aratagotia, shot from the outside. John Aratagotia, also a newcomer to the program. He had been playing the last 2 years at the MLS Next level, along with Łukasz Wachowski. Aratagotia was playing for TSF. MLS Next, another way of calling an academy level, what used to be about 10 years ago. And he said this year he wanted to play high school soccer. Aratagotia is a junior, a very good connecting and tactical player that plays holding mid at the club level. Conte went up the middle for Landon Kaplan. Conte, now a ball chipped in, Soares, and Soares couldn't get to it. Recovery from Conte. On the second ball, again maneuvering, and the shot has to be punched over the top by Alkins. Ilias Alkin able to make the save on a screaming shot from RJ Guerrero. Here comes the game's first corner. We have a sub in prior to the first corner. Sub coming in for Fairlawn. Alkin remains in his 6th. Watanabe. And the Bridgeman able to escape. Well, for Demba Manet, asking for his team at 4-1-2, still working towards playing their very best soccer in terms of leveling out maybe some of their downs that they might experience. He has seen them really play up, pounding Dumont 5 games ago, 8-1. Rivalry game, though, at Ridgefield Park, where looking for his team to play up to the level of competition and not ride the wave or have their waves be as high as low. And that's what every coach certainly looks for, to flatten out performance. Watanabe. Battle for the second ball. as Chang pursued. Still battle for the second ball, and Łukasz Wachowski. Watanabe shuts that down. Watanabe leaves, and that's away from Landon Kaplan. 23rd minute tonight in Fort Lee, no score. Lucien Yu returning. Yu now clearly in an attacking mindset. Lucien Yu to continue. Yu making the run all the way to the front. Yu chipping, and he misses wide. Lucien Yu making a 40-yard burst. And he ended up with room and time. Bells had to make the commitment, and Yu could not tuck it in to the far post. Yu with 2 goals and an assist on the season, including scoring 1 last week on the 28th in a 3-1 victory on the road for Fort Lee at St. Joe's Montville. Chang, another breakup. Yu, and nearly delivered a fine through ball. First time we've seen Fairlawn get a bit stretched. And Fairlawn with Ben Braudo carrying a long way as he chips to the wide side of the field. Diverts. Wachowski, he was stepped into. Again, Fort Lee looking for the long counter. Lucien Yu, second ball win. As Diverts chases. Fort Lee with numbers in the box. Braudo, though, in recovery, is able to thwart that. Ben Braudo, 3 years in the varsity, a 2-year starter. He has 7 goals this year. However, 6 of them, remarkably, as I was blown away hearing it from Matt Saccone, 6 of his 7 goals as a center back. As here is Kaplan firing. Kaplan, and Bells makes a terrific save. A low, hard rocket with some good bend to it. And Joshua Bells comes up with a terrific save. And it'll be the first corner of the night for Fort Lee. But for Ben Braudo to finish up the point, 6 of his goals have come via penalty kicks out of his 7, where he is strictly playing center back most matches full time. On occasion, they'll move him up to forward when they need a goal late. Bells, and he'll parry out the cross from Kaplan. 1 corner kick apiece. Shots are 3-2. Lucien Yu off the takeaway. A cross delivered, intended for Kaplan. Yu to try to punch it forward, and he was looking for Vagapov. And Jamil Vagapov saw it touched last by Fairlawn. That's quite the remarkable achievement for Ben Braudo to also not only be trusted to take all those penalties, but I don't know if he has missed any, but still 6 penalties finished off for a player at this point in the season. Ball across, Kaplan, well defended by Wachowski. Second ball cross, Yerrick Blanco into the match for Fort Lee. Blanco, a talented sophomore that played a ton of minutes last year and had 1 goal, 3 assists, same so far for Blanco. Deep throw for Fort Lee. And in the air, that was a Fort Lee player. That was Lucien Yu, and he got good position, putting it wide to the near post. 3 subs in for Fairlawn. As the players come on, junior winger Josh Yanez is one of them. So Yanez, I think, is playing in at a left midfield spot. And also back on Ethan Blecker to play wide right. Eric Blanco. Fairlawn looks to settle. And also into the game, looked like Andrew Salnikov has come in at center mid. Salnikov has been playing that role with Anthony DeVerts. Salnikov, as Wachowski will slow it down. Hernandez will connect with his right back. Fairlawn searches for a switch. Some room to maneuver for Jaden Tumbokan. As Tumbokan started on the right and is back in to play on the left. As Fairlawn showing very nice flexibility. Soares with a takeaway. Soares through ball. Wachowski and his chances wide to the near side. Well, Łukasz Wachowski using the outside of his right foot very beautifully. Good thought. And the fourth shot for Fairlawn. And a goal kick coming for Elias Alkin. Alcon. He delivered a nice goal kick. Bells remained out. Bells now finally coming off of his line. And Fairlawn is able to come up with a clearance. Ben Braudo with good late work not to foul after a quality goal kick released by Alkin. That was Jamil Vagapov in a race with Braudo. '30th minute, no score. Two corners apiece. Hernandez, comfortable in some traffic. And Nas Hernandez will steer it back. Hernandez with comfortable touches, watching him tonight. Bells delivers over the top and handled on the back pedal by Fort Lee Samuel Choi. Battle for the second ball. Recovered, then slipped through. Wachowski chance, and he whisks it over the top. Łukasz Wachowski with two great chances here late in the first half. Nice layoff that came from Josh Nyril, who came in at center forward. Nyril has been starting at center back recently in a back foursome. Here is Landon Kaplan. Captain looking for Blanco. Just skipped away from Blanco before it is cleared further up the field. Blanco. And the clearance will bang right to Bells. Also in at right back has been Andriy Kutsi, sophomore defender for Fairlawn. Wachowski makes the link up, and then as they tried to play Nyril in, And Ethan Blecker's ball reaching Alkin. Again, over the top on the other end, intended for Vagapov. All the Fort Lee has made no secrets or qualms about it. They're going to look to play and counter quickly and over the top, particularly against what is a strong possession-based team that can execute it in Fairlawn tonight. And that'll be out for a goal kick. Here into the 32nd minute, no score. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors for helping make this broadcast possible. The William T. Birch Children's Fund, Sedona Tap House, the finest construction of Fort Lee, the Fort Lee Soccer Club, It's Greek to Me Restaurant of Fort Lee, the Fort Lee Education Association, VFW of Fort Lee, the Bergen Black Sox, Connect One Bank, and the Collective Hair Salon of Fort Lee. We thank you. And improving an already much improved Fairlawn team, 4-5, after just 3 wins last year, meeting a 4-1-2 Fort Lee squad that also believes that their trajectory is towards a deeper run. Vagapov cuts it around Brado. Brado is able to get a piece and recover. Ball delivered for Blanco. Yarrick Blanco taking it wide, and his shot is blocked. Good recovery shown by Andrei Kutsi to deny the shot. Third corner for the Bridgemen, and Kutsi sliding over from his right back spot. Every spot has much more territory, of course, in a 3-4-3 to cover. And Kutsi, noticing Blanco was the man he had to pick up. Landon Kaplan, service for Fort Lee. As he looks far post, Emmanuel Nitkin, 7 in pink, looks to chase it down. Follow-up blast from the outside, and that's off. That's Gordon Cheng that gave it a ride. Gordon returning first team Big North American Division for his ability to combine and do a tremendous job as a holding mid, second team American Division honors as a freshman, just a junior. Chang the breakup. Broken back up by Fairlawn. As Alex Pimienta, as it comes across, and service is off the body of a Fort Lee player from Josh Yanez. "36th minute of play tonight under the lights at Fort Lee. Ralph Bednarchik on hand. Space for Salnikov. And Andrew Salnikov releasing the shot. Salnikov was left a little open. He is the backup to Anthony DeVerts. A little bit more of a defensive center mid, but he saw his opening and took it. Elias Alcon. Head ball by you. Good thought. Vagapov almost got onto the end of it. Stepping up, Landon Kaplan. Kaplan is able to win it as he cuts it across. Darts forward. Landon Kaplan still with it. It could not be chipped towards frame. Fort Lee will prevent the clearance. Senior Marcus Leon for the first time. And a deep throw coming from the Bridgemen. Well, Elias Alcon's goal kicks have resulted in nearly instant offense for Fort Lee tonight. The several that he has had. He's been able to find ahead or end up springing players forward. Blanco And Yerrick Blanco had it come up and end up as an inadvertent handball. Vichovsky, Salnikov, and then Vichovsky, thinking about what he was doing next, ends up turning it over to Kaplan. Fort Lee with Marcus Lee. Yanez. Vichovsky has been trouble for Fort Lee when he's lined up left, hit his cross, and it's buried! Vichovsky with the delivery, the assist, and then the left-footed side volley is gorgeous for Ethan Blecker. 1-0 Fairlawn. In the 38th minute, Vichovsky able to find a teammate. Blecker was waiting for it, is known for having a cannon of a shot. Ethan Blecker has the first goal of his career. One nothing Fort Lee. Rather, 1-0 Fairlawn, and Fort Lee getting a little stretched defensively and no one picking up the top of the box. Blecker, who can play mainly at forward, but Matt Ciccone jokes he has a license to shoot from anywhere, and Blecker made a left-footed, a non-dominant foot side volley look very comfortable for himself. Now Fort Lee the other way, and the shot by Blanco is off. But it's certainly a terrific goal. Vichovsky set it up with the assist. That's his second assist of the season, and Ethan Blecker will certainly thank him. Hernandez. As the breakup came from Ben Kang, the left back. Kang in the air, Emmanuel Nitkin. And Nitkin for Fort Lee. Gordon Chang in the 40th minute. Looks for Vagapov. Fort Lee with 3 corners in this first half. Vagapov tried to play Kaplan. Up the line went Marcus Lee. And a good job by Marcus to create space. Chang, good touch, Samuel Choi. Then the ball ahead for Kang, a little short. And here comes Ethan Blecker. Blecker now returns the favor for Łukasz Vichovsky. Vichovsky getting wide to the end line. Vichovsky, and Alkin has to make a save, perhaps. There was a man cutting through the middle. That would have been Josh Nyril had the pass been completed. Landon Kaplan the other way in the final seconds, and he will not get off a shot. A frenzied finish to the end of the first half, but it is Fairlawn leading Fort Lee 1-0 in Fort Lee tonight. Ethan Blecker with his first career goal. It comes in the 38th minute. Łukasz Vichovsky with the assist, and that's the story. Fort Lee trailing Fairlawn on the Fort Lee YouTube Athletics channel at halftime. I'll be back in 10 minutes to bring you the second half from the Allen W. Sugarman Complex. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Welcome back for the start of the second half tonight from the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Athletic Complex in Fort Lee. It's a 1-0 Fairlawn lead over the Fort Lee Bridgman in varsity boys soccer tonight. Ralph Bednarczyk with you. First career goal for Ethan Blecker of Fairlawn is the difference. I'd like to thank all of our sponsors again, the William T. Birch Children's Fund, Sedona Tap House, the finest construction of Fort Lee Soccer Club, It's Greek to Me Restaurant of Fort Lee, the Fort Lee Education Association, the VFW of Fort Lee, Bergen Black Sox, Connect One Bank of Fort Lee, and the Collective Hair Salon of Fort Lee. We thank you for helping bring you this broadcast tonight here on the Fort Lee YouTube Athletics channel. Bridgman in the pink to help raise awareness for breast cancer. Fairlawn in the white on white. Blecker, our goal scorer tonight. Emmanuel Nitkin off the breakup. Gordon Cheng. Landon Kaplan with a good seal. Lucien Yu had one more, and he'll play out Watanabe's right back. Promising opening possession for Fort Lee, and in the air, that's Ben Brado. There's an example of his ability to win head balls even while being on the move. Brado playing for the tremendous Fairlawn boys and girls varsity head coach Peter Zisa, who's been there a long time. Fairlawn at the Group 4 level has consistently been one of the top boys volleyball programs. You shanked it on the follow. Blanco save is made. Getting a left hand on it. Joshua Bells. Tremendous chance. And Bells did not ever get off balance off of his line. That was key. After you only got a partial touch on his shot, it comes up coming right to Yerrick Blanco. Blanco put the ball in a tough spot. He picked out a corner, fourth corner for Fort Lee, and Bells will grab it. And in this second half, one of my thoughts was, how will Fort Lee how will they convert against one of the Bergen County's top goalies? Again, Bells returning as a third-team All-Bergen County goalie. Basically, you're one of the top 10 keepers in the county with that kind of honor. And Yerrick Blanco bidding for his second of the season and put it in a good spot, but that is Bells just coming up with a great save. And it came on the tail end of a terrific possession by Fort Lee, and the Bridgemen looked like a completely different team in the opening minute. And I think talking to and thoughts of Demba Manet, I think he wants his team to disrupt Fairlawn much more than his team did in the first half, where the Cutters got very comfortable on the ball and were able to pick out crossers. Vichovsky. It's backheeled along. Ball sent in, and Blecker making the run down the middle, and Fort Lee comes up with the clearance. That was Vichovsky on the challenge, so it is a 3-4-3. Looks like the starting lineup is out there for Fairlawn. Bells will look over the top for Blecker. And Fort Lee will have a deep throw. So raising the intensity level, defensively being more disruptive for Fort Lee, I think was Coach Demba Manet's message. And then to look for more possession, where the Bridgemen were very content to just play and bang the ball direct. RJ Guerrero is able to send a pass over to Matthew Gomes. Now Guerrero shooting from the outside. Oh, check that is 14 in white. Gomes with a look, and that is off. Gomes, a first-year starter that never seems to run out of steam and can defend playing wide mid. And he had the game-winning assist in the big victory at West Milford. Second-year varsity player Matthew Gomes. Then I think for Matt Ciccone and his team, they've been very dangerous up front And I think he wants to see that for 40 more minutes. His team looked very comfortable and confident onto it, but they have given up 21 goals on the year. So can Fairlawn not be leaky in the back? They've already given up one chance. Conte will allow Ilias Alcan to handle here. Fairlawn has lost 2 straight, and they have just 1 shutout, despite the talents of Bells. Hernandez, Wachowski back at left back where he started the match. Moved up the field once Fairlawn started to make substitutions. Bells. Gomes had trouble with it. Watanabe. Anthony diverts. Some space to take it across now for Chris Conroy. Or check that rather, I'm sorry, that's 16. Hard to see under the lights a little bit. John Aratagotia. Brado in the air. As Aratagotia loses his balance, Yerrick Blanco. We'll get a Fort Lee sub as Watanabe exits at right back. And it looks like Fort Lee has also made a change into what could be a 3-4-3 themselves. Lucien Yu, Cheng, Kang, Emmanuel Nitkin attacking the end line, sprays a pass towards the area. Dangerous whip ball in, good vision by Emmanuel Nitkin. Now trouble clearing for Brado, still not out, and then the shot is blocked. Follow-up chance by Cheng is also blocked. Cheng remains relentless. Landon Kaplan circles. And believe it or not, we have one of the game's few fouls, and this is the first legitimate foul in a scoring area from either team. And it comes in the 48th minute. So Lucien Yu will be on this restart for the Bridgemen. Yu will provide service. Ball is in as it deflects, and the wall did its job, at least partially. Conte on the second ball. Cheng. And Cheng may have forced it. Fourth corner for Fort Lee. Defending has been the consistent strength this year for Fairlawn, as Wachowski with the high press now for Lee showing. And Bells now as a 4-year starter has become an excellent vocal leader, really something you don't hear often about. That's Ciccone describing how he keeps us in every game, but he is also like another coach on the field that knows how to motivate his teammates and get on them in a very good way. And Bells' years of experience and playing for multiple coaches, of course, through the club levels, he's understood how to do that and make the most out of it, as there will be a corner received for Fairlawn on the other side. So after the long goal kick, And now up to the task, Ilias Alkan to assemble his defenders. A 1-0 Fair Lawn lead, a goal in the 38th minute by Ethan Blecker. That ball taken by Fort Lee, and then the chance back through the goalpost by R.J. Guerrero. Guerrero making the start tonight, second-year varsity relentless winger. Fair Lawn showing their depth with a couple of key players out that are certainly of quality, particularly when you talk about the defense of Fair Lawn. They're missing key piece in starting outside back Valentino Pate. He'd be starting left back, and also Sebastian St. John. Sebastian unable to go tonight. He had been starting at left back. So in addition to down 2 left backs, playing in a 3-4-3 alignment and showing how Fair Lawn can make adjustments. Brado is a big reason why they can do that. Diverts as Nitkin challenged him. Blanco. Yerrick has had Fort Lee's best scoring opportunity. Bridgman really have had 3 A-grade chances. Jamil Vagapov had one in the 2nd minute of the game. A couple others you probably would classify as a B. Off of that switch, and coming over to slide over to help out and break it up is Ben Kang. Dangerous bouncing ball that Fort Lee is able to clear. Lucien Yu. Yu around Hernandez will pick up another Fort Lee corner. So Naz Hernandez got turned around a couple of times by Lucien. Landon Kaplan, it appears, would take it. And now actually looks like Emmanuel Nitkin will take it. Bridgmen have not played any of their corners short yet. And at least just to bring out a couple of defenders. But now they'll drive it to the backside, and this one really takes off on Nitkin. And a wasted opportunity for the Bridgemen. 53rd minute, 54th minute. 1-0 Fair Lawn. Gordon Chang, Vagapov off of his hip. Vagapov plays it and lays it across. Bells will allow it to go out. More tremendous work by Gordon Chang to be a ball winner. And a good job by Jamil Vagapov to use his hips while running as a forward. And he made it tough for the defender to close in on him. Gomes. As DeVerts came up with a breakup, we have the whistle. And it must have been an inadvertent handball. This has been a very clean match. Two teams with definite technical abilities. Fair Lawn, as I touched on a year ago, they were very young. They weren't a lot of their losses, but a year later, growing up, having a total of just 5 seniors last year, 2 that were full-time players or starters, they came back and have certainly learned and grown. Aratagotia, and he has been one of their additions back to the high school team. Soares beautifully in and out before Emmanuel Nitkin read his next touch. Nitkin will dash as he takes it across the field with a collision. Chang to the feet of Lucien Yu. Yu looking back post. And then the shot from the angle comes. Easy save made by Bells on Landon Kaplan. And Kaplan with beautiful delivery, and actually Bells showing that he can actually overthrow his targets. As Blecker heads off, we see Alex Pimienta return. It is Lucien Yu. Ball that Kaplan will circle. Kaplan serves it in. He had Kenta Watanabe in the air. Follow up from Nitkin. Room for the left back, Ben Kang. Kang then dispossessed, and good work by Pimienta. And diverts will check it in over to Soares. Space for Naz Hernandez. And then the ball by Gomes just away from his teammate making the overlapping run, and a good build-up and transition shown from Fairlawn. It was touched by Fort Lee. And that would have been R.J. Guerrero who would have been in on the angle. Ball intended for Aratagotia, and Alkin will have it off target. We'll hit the 58th minute tonight in Fort Lee, 1-0 Fairlawn. Soares had to keep it in. Michael Conte picking out Marcus Lee, taken away. Fort Lee looking for a clearance, and then sliding over is Kang to save the day. Then the rebound, and it's buried. A rocket of a broken play, and it's finished off. 2-0 Fairlawn. John Aratagotia saw a sitting ball, and he put everything he had behind it. Alkin had a chance, he had a look at it, but just too much heat behind it. Aratagotia with his second goal of the season, and Fairlawn now with a commanding 2-0 lead. Ben Kang rescued the first would-be scoring chance with a tremendous block shot, the left back. But upon the ricochet, Aratagotia was able to run onto it with all of his momentum behind it. He gets the goal unassisted, second of the season. And Fairlawn looking for a notable win in their season. And Fort Lee with tremendous work to do. Two teams that, based on the way things look, are certainly going to be in the Bergen County tournament, playing for high seeding. As that ball out of the reach by Lucien Yu of Landon Kaplan. It would be substantial for Fort Lee to come up with a road win like this to get to 500. The Bridgemen at 4-1-2 on the year. Neither team has went to the Bergen County tournament last year. Bridgman last went in 2021. Several of these players were on the roster as freshmen. Ball delivered forward. And Vichovsky will send over the top. Marcus Lee will steer it away for a deep throw. Fairlawn last went to the Bergen County tournament 2 years ago, losing at Demarest in the second round. Fort Lee lost to Don Bosco in the second round in 2021. That's Vichovsky. Check that rather. 14, that was Gomes taking the shot. Kang delivering a nice ball. Emmanuel Nitkin chipping Vagapov over the top, but Bells reads his line. It shows tremendous athleticism. Joshua Bells gets tons of private goalie training in addition to playing for World Class FC, which is based in Westchester. Yu got the return from Vagapov. Lucian. And Yu will calmly get out of trouble. Then Kang looks over the top. Good delivery, and Vichovsky has to come up with a chance-saving clearance. Fort Lee will have their 6th corner. And one that they should feel the urgency not to waste. Lucien Yu will have this service. Yu having runners, and Vichovsky wins the head ball. Follow up, Yu, and it is offside. And Yu, a victim of the position he was coming off of. He was providing service on the corner. First offside of the night. This has been a game with a good rhythm to it. Two pretty technically sound and explosive teams, and good balance for a high school match between the two. Cheng able to be the ball winner. And a little too handsy up the field was Anthony DeVerts of Fairlawn. So Lee will deal it back to his left-footed kicker, and Ilias Alcott. Guerrero playing it out. Lucien Yu sprays a ball forward, and he nearly had Kenta Watanabe. He was on the same page with Kenta. Kenta primarily as an outside back, but has moved up top to forward. With Marcus Lee playing the primo minutes here in the second half at right back. Soares checks it back. That second ball that as off the sideline, Watanabe. Iratagodia. Salnikov. Hard step from Choi to step in front of Suarez. Fairlawn recycles the ball. Marcus Lee on the breakup. And as Salnikov pursued, and the offside flag was up. Fort Lee will be at Hudson County Perennial Power St. Peter's Prep coming up on Saturday. It's our 9 a.m. start. Challenging time probably for everybody, especially high schoolers. And being the road team, Aratagodia. And then the challenge, of course, how well coached and organized St. Peter's Prep typically is. Another tough one, but as Demba Mene came into the season, no more talk about development the last 2 years, where Fort Lee was still respectable, but now with the additions of Lucien Yu and Emmanuel Nitkin, both who did not play for Fort Lee the last 2 years, the talent level has been raised, and the players, all the returners feeling energized. They knew they would be much better anyway, but then to add those two, and here is a chance that is well off. I think that is Matt Gomes that took the shot. But with those additions, it raises the bar of expectations. Should raise the daily work ethic and practice, and realizing that there is now a goal in front of us that we have the potential to reach. And the St. Peter's Prep game, certainly a part of that. Suarez will end up working the ball back for a turnover. Salnikov. And also 25 in white, David Gomez has come in the middle of the field for Fairlawn. Gomez pursues. And also into the game, and returning Jaden Tumbukan. Now the breakup, and here comes Landon Kaplan. And then Łukasz Wachowski will dispossess him. Kaplan was asking, perhaps hoping for a foul call. Follow-up from Kaplan. And Wachowski. Gomes. And Gomes tried to cut it across to his right foot. That was broken up, and it will be another Fairlawn corner. Fifth of the night for the Cutters, and both teams making substitutions. Ball intended for Josh Nyril of Fairlawn. As Fort Lee sends out Christian Lozano, 13 in pink. Salnikov as it pinballs around Gomez. David Gomez of Fairlawn. You will break it up. Transition chance again for Fort Lee. Ball through for Lozano. And that was well read. A 13 in white on the coverage from Jaden Tumbukan. Cheng continues to be the engine as the holding mid for Fort Lee. this second half has been more balanced in terms of possession than the first, where Fairlawn had its way in terms of possession, able to switch points of attack and get their outside backs also up the field, bordering the attacking end in a 3-4-3 formation. Alex Pimienta draws it back for David Gomez. Losing the touch there was Fairlawn and Josh Nyril. Ball sent ahead for Gomes. Fort Lee getting a partial clearance. Nathan Vagodner trying to play it back to a teammate. Vichovsky. Gomes puts on the brakes. Gomes will then search for a switch for Josh Yanez. A throw for the Fairlawn Cutters as we hit the 70th minute. The Cutters sitting on a 2-0 lead. They have not gone into a shell at all. They're trying to protect this game. And Fort Lee has continued to probe and look for something via the counter, but the transition defense just like that. And a good job of marking back and hustling back in varsity basketball player Jaden Tumbakan. Fort Lee has been able to generate chances off of a couple of broken plays. Yerrick Blanco's chance that Josh Bells made an incredible save for a high school goalie. Kept it at 1-0. Jamil Vagapov into the second minute had a long shot that bent wide from about 21 yards out. Ball chipped ahead. It's Lucien Yu. He's in. Save made Bells. Vagapov played you in. And Joshua Bells playing at a first-team All-Bergen County level. And we remain 2-0 Fairlawn. So Fort Lee with a handful of pretty high-end chances tonight. They are facing a no-doubt collegiate goalie at some level. Ball ahead for Vagapov. And Ben Braudo will swoop over. Salnikov looked for a switch, and that's broken up. Fort Lee looking for a switch on the other end. And now Matthew Gomes for Fairlawn. Yanez. Vichovsky will see the invitation to go get the ball from his left back spot. Yanez and Fort Lee for a bit of time using that dangerous word of managing a lead. They lead it 2-0. Fairlawn with only one shutout on the year. As Fort Lee will bring on 3 substitutions. Meanwhile, the Bridgemen, they have only been shut out once themselves, and that was in a scoreless tie, Game 2 at Riverdale. Blanco. The Bells has been the difference maker. And for Fairlawn, he certainly gives them tremendous optimism into a Bergen County tournament or in the North 1 Group 4 sectional. And he could steal games, particularly should Fairlawn get to penalties. Bridgman have had, in my estimation, 4 high-quality scoring chances. Bells has made 3 dynamite saves and also, very importantly, no mistakes. He has caught the ball cleanly on crosses, managed his box well on corners. Fort Lee has 6 corners. Gomez of Fairlawn. Aratagotia. And Fairlawn loses the ball out of play. Vagapov. And unable to prevent it from crossing the sideline. Fairlawn making a sub. In the high school game, the clock will continue to move. New rule change this year in NCAA soccer, which I think is a good one, where the substitution changes. If the winning team subbed with 5 minutes remaining, the clock would stop. This year, that number expanding up to the final 15 minutes of the second half to prevent milking of the clock. And also the clock stops if the game is tied 2, which wasn't the case. Vagapov clears himself for room and time. And Jamil Vagapov might have had a couple more steps, because also in the world of NCAA soccer, we're in the 3rd year of no regular season overtimes, which that makes a factor. So if an underdog team is highly content of playing for a tie, they cannot use multiple substitutions to salt away time. But in the high school game, it is still a tremendous strategy. Wachowski sends out Gordon Chang. Runs into David Gomez of Fairlawn. Kaplan. And the breakup by Josh Nyrell. Kaplan back heels it along. For Lee with a sprint ahead, Andrew Margolin, 15 in pink. And the late whistle in the challenge, and Landon Kaplan is fouled. Second time that he has been fouled in a quality area. Again, this has been a very clean game. If there was a total number of fouls, I think it is under 10. It might be as little as like 6 in this game. Very clean. But 2 have been for Fort Lee just off the corner 18. The last one, the wall, did its job for Fairlawn. And now Emmanuel Nitkin here. 78th minute and right at Bells. And Bells continues to show how composed he is. Matt Ciccone, who was a 3-year starting outside back, the head coach of Fairlawn at Division III Muhlenberg. He's in his 11th season, calls him one of the best athletes he has ever coached. And a 6'1" goalie that, particularly at a high school game right now, is the total package. Fort Lee looks to try to solve him. Here is Vagapov with the touch. Jamil Vagapov! Another grade A chance for Fort Lee late. And Bells coming off of his line to squeeze the field and target on Vagapov. Wonderful through ball ahead for Vagapov. As Bells will drive it. And we will hit the 80th minute. Fair Lawn looking for their second shutout of the year. Fort Lee has put together more than a handful of quality chances here through 80 minutes. But they have been stifled by one of Bergen County's best goalies. Nitkin. Vagapov. Aratagodia has the goal here in the second half. Beg your pardon, not Vagapov, Alex Pimienta. He is tripped up. And that should take the final seconds off the clock. Andrei Kutsi will leave it. And Braudo will send in right to Elias Alkin. Fair Lawn will come up with their second shutout of the season. A noteworthy victory for the Fair Lawn Cutters as they get to 500 at 5-5. And they stop a 2-game losing streak. They come to Fort Lee and deal the Bridgemen a 2-0 loss. Fort Lee falls to 4-2-2 on the season. In this non-league matchup, Fort Lee shut out for just the second time this year. First career goal for junior Ethan Blecker came in the 38th minute. Łukasz Wachowski would set him up beautifully. Blecker ends up with the game winner tonight. 58th minute, John Aratagotia will handle a little bit of a broken play, sending a rocket through a bit of traffic from about 15 yards out from the angle. Elias Alkin saw it, but just could not react fast enough. It was a ball that got on him in a hurry from tight quarters, and that's where we finished. Joshua Bells in net for Fair Lawn picks up another shutout. He made 3 high quality saves for a high school goalie, college level saves for a high school goalie tonight for Fair Lawn in the victory. So that'll wrap it up for all of us. We'd like to thank all of our special sponsors for helping make this broadcast possible of Fort Lee Athletics. The William T. Birch Children's Fund, Sedona Tap House, the finest construction of Fort Lee, the Fort Lee Soccer Club, It's Greek to Me of Fort Lee Restaurant, the Fort Lee Education Association, the VFW of Fort Lee, Bergen Black Sox, Connect One Bank of Fort Lee, and the Collective Hair Salon of Fort Lee. We sincerely thank you for helping make this broadcast possible. And thanks to my producer, Dimitri Nanos, my name is Ralph Benorchik saying so long, goodbye, and good night from the Allen W. Sugarman Athletic Complex. It is a final. Fair Lawn shuts out Fort Lee tonight in boys soccer 2-0 on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel.